Good evening. Thank you for attending this regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of Little Elm ISD. Today is September 18th. We will open the meeting at 6:30 p.m. First up, the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Texas state flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, we'll have invocation. Mr. Flores, will you introduce, please?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to thank Pastor Tyrone Hanna with the Cornerstone Baptist Church. If you would please come up to the podium and offer the invocation. Thank you.
Thank you. In the Old Testament, the book of Proverbs makes a statement in a familiar passage. It says that wisdom is the principal thing. And in all of your getting, get an understanding. That's what I pray that this meeting is for. That's what I pray that this school year is about. Let's go before the Lord. Father, in the name of Jesus, Master, we thank you on tonight. We thank you for the people that have turned away aside from the busyness of the day. And we thank you for giving us safe travel to this place. We thank you, Father God, for the things that will be talked about, spoken of. And we pray that it's done in a spirit of unity and cooperation. You said that understanding was the principal thing. And so, Father God, bring us to the understanding that if we're going to educate the children of Little Elm, it's going to take trustees that have an understanding. And it's going to take teachers that are equipped and well assisted and have an understanding. And it's going to take children that make efforts in an environment that will give them the right understanding. We commit it to you all right now, and we thank you, Father. Use this time, Father God, to move us forward in the educating of our young people. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have introduction roll call. Ms. Padilla.
Here. Mr. Dan Blackway.
Here.
Ms. Leanna Hardy. Here. Mr. David Montemayor.
Here.
Ms. Melissa Myers.
Here.
Mr. Jason Olson.
Here.
Mr. Alejandro Flores.
Here.
Mr. DeLeon English. Present.
He is stuck in traffic. We were alerted. All right, next up, approval of minutes. I need a motion for the approval of regular meeting minutes from August 21st.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Harding, second?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we are up to Superintendent Spotlight. Mr. Gallagher?
Yes, President Myers, board members, thank you. One of the honors and privileges that I have as superintendent is board meetings is the superintendent spotlight. And during this time, I get to bring forward some students and principals at our campuses to recognize some of the great things that are happening at our campuses. So tonight, I would like to introduce Principal of Prestwick STEM Academy, Miss Christy Gibson.
I don't know about y'all, but that long walk, you just hope that you don't trip in front of everybody. And I want to motion success, first one. Thank you so much for having us. We greatly appreciate being here. These are my co-leaders, Felipa Vargas and Marnie Richardson, and we are so honored. One of the best things you can do when you're on a campus is get into classrooms to see what great things that students are doing. It just kind of rejuvenates you. And so we've got a couple of goodies for you. I wanted to spotlight this evening our fine arts program at Prestwick. A lot of times you hear about STEM and people forget that we have arts programs as well. You hear a lot right right now about STEAM programs that are taking place, and I want you to know that while we don't officially have the A for our STEAM program, we have a very live and robust fine arts program on our campus. And so I'd like to recognize a few of the staff members that help lead that. And so I have Kayleen Hernandez. She's been with us for going into her second year now, and I cannot tell you what a driven, passionate, heartfelt woman that she is. Before she came to our campus, she was actually leading percussion sectionals throughout the district, and this year she's brought a spark. If you go to the middle school game tomorrow night, she actually had the brain idea to have a pep squad and a pep band present. And so if you look in that section where you would normally see on Friday nights the high school band, we have our Lakeside as well as Prestwick bands that are co-performing at our middle school games. So kudos to you, Ms. Hernandez. We also have Renata Saldana, if she'll please stand up as well. She's going into her second year at Prestwick, and she absolutely is not only a gifted artist, but gifted at inspiring others. And so one of her projects this year was getting students to kind of self-disclose and discover who they are as individuals. So you can see the great self-portraits that students had along with them in the picture, which are phenomenal. And we're going to invite you back later this year because she actually is doing art throughout the world. We're going to have a cultures fair that she's helping kind of gather pieces of artwork for. So she's absolutely outstanding, and we're grateful to have her at our campus. And then since opening our campus, we've had the joy of having Mariano Aguirre, and he's outstanding as well. He actually birthed a class at our campus known as Guitar Ensemble, and so our students really wanted to have something in addition to just music appreciation, and so he took it to a new level with his training and has a guitar ensemble, and then likewise he also has a choir class, and they'll be singing the alma mater for you guys tonight. So without further ado, we're going to start with a sectional from Ms. Hernandez, and I'll let her go ahead and lead that.
You get to hear the alma mater, the instrumental version, and vocal version.
So never a better time to be a little Lobo than what we have now. And I look forward to these students funneling up Miss Pentecost to you and doing great things at the high school as well. Thank you for your unwavering support of all of our programs, our engineering programs and our arts programs. And we welcome you anytime to come out and see them perform because they're an outstanding group of students.
I was pretty amazed to see that. I think there were some hand signs, right? There were some, that's pretty amazing. Thank you very much for sharing that with us as well.
Yeah, and also I want to say thank you, students. Great job. We appreciate you. And again, Ms. Gibson, thank you so much for highlighting your campus. So thank you. Next, I would like to invite Ms. Renee Pentecost, the principal of Little Elm High School.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher and board. It is my pleasure again to be here and introduce you to a couple of our great students at Little Elm High School. Tonight, I am here to tell you about two of our senior leaders. So if Dalton and Gwendolyn will join me up here at the podium, please. Both of these students are seniors. I'm going to start with Dalton here. He is a co-president of our DECA school store, which has expanded this year. We have given them a room instead of a closet, and they are really taking off with that, expanding their sales to shirts that they make. So they have put that out there to different groups that have asked them to make shirts, and then they have shirts for sale on a regular basis. So that's really been popular, and they can't keep the stock on the shelves. Dalton also plays varsity football, and he has been accepted to Oklahoma State University. Ms. Keisha Brown, our college coordinator, has a incentive program that she calls the Early Bird 30. That's our first 30 seniors that are that turn in their acceptances to college. And Dalton here was our very first one to turn in his acceptance letter. So we're proud of him for that. He wants to major in business and someday open his own business, and that goes along with his second passion, which he competes in shooting contests. So one of these days he wants to open his own gun store. So Dalton, I believe his parents are here. If y'all would stand, we'd like to recognize y'all as well. So looking forward to the great things that our DECA group is going to do this year. And Gwendolyn is also a part of that group. She is a senior and also co-president of our DECA school store. Last year, she competed at the regional, state, and international levels of competition with DECA. I had the privilege of going out to California with the group that went to international and got to know Gwendolyn a little bit, and she is very passionate about DECA and all that they do. She practices what she learns in the classroom as she works at Whataburger, and has even been talked to about pursuing management opportunities with Whataburger. That's pretty impressive for a high school student, for them to already recognize the leader potential that she has. So we're real proud of her. She has those same ambitions this year, already knows those dates of those competitions, so I have no doubt that she will be representing Little Elm High School at the international competition again this year. Her hopes as far as post-high school is she plans on applying to North Texas and majoring in business. So two of our leaders in DECA, leaders in the classroom, and leaders out in our community. So again, this is Dalton and Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn's mom is here as well. I would like to recognize her and thank you for being here this evening.
Take a picture of that. Where are you going? So come up. Which side? One up here. I will. There we go. Okay, guys. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations to both. That was really impressive.
Sorry.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
thank you, Ms. Pentecost, and also to Dalton and Gwendolyn, great job. I also was in DECA as a student in high school, so congratulations to what you guys are accomplishing in that, so very proud of y'all. At this time, I want to introduce, not yet,
Okay.
we have citizens input.
I thought maybe there was a new wrinkle. At this time, do we have any citizen input? None? Okay. Now, Mr. Gallagher, you can move on.
Yes, thank you. Yes, at this time, I want to introduce our Executive Director for Human Resources, Mrs. Cleota Epps.
Good evening, Madam President and Superintendent, Board of Trustees. Tonight, come to you because we would like to offer you our annual report from HR, from Human Resource Services. So we're going to start out with a little bit of the highlights. We currently have 864 employees broken into the professional and non-exempt. I'm delighted that at this time we have only 2 professional openings and 13 non-exempt. It's been a very good year. Moving forward, we are also thankful to the board. We had 14 new positions approved going into the 17-18 school year. This year, we were very busy in HR with the new positions and just changes around the district. We had 102 professional hires and 26 auxiliary. Don't you like the dream job? Pointing right up to Ellie. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about our goals, where we were last year when I did the same annual report. The goals that I had listed were to obtain our professional human capital leaders in education certification for growth goals inside of HR. Myself, Mr. Loke, and Ms. Walker have all obtained this certification, and Mr. Muhammad, who came on July 1, is in class right now enjoying that training. So he'll pop out come May with that new certification as well. We had said we had new strategies for recruiting that we wanted to work on in targeting neighboring universities. And I'm going to talk about this one a little bit more in the presentation. But we do have a Teachers Hosting Teachers program. The program's set, recruiting's underway, and our first guest teachers are expected in January for second semester. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a sec. We did a compensation study last year as part of our goals, and as a result, we were able to bring you the new salary ranges, which you approved for us, and we thank you for that. And then the final goal we had was to change from the sick leave policy of a sick leave pool into a sick leave bank, which benefited our employees. And we were able to enact that, and with your approval, launch that on September 1. So it is in place now. So overall, we're celebrating. We feel like we had a really good year in meeting the goals for the department. Going forward, we're working right now with a company called Frontline Central. We've had many of their programs, but they've been somewhat fragmented, and we had the opportunity to pull them all together recently and have kind of a one-stop shop and use them all under one umbrella, which has made it much easier for us in HR as well as many different parts of the district and the departments. This is one of the things I'm really excited about. I like surveys, so you see lots of survey information. But we did an onboarding survey. This is the first time we've had an opportunity really to show you what people say about us coming on. So the first one is how many days from recommendation of the hire to completion of the hire. So I know Ms. Harding can relate to the onboarding process and how much time it takes. And you can see that 75% of the time we were on board was complete within 5 to 7 days. So the part I like best, of course, is the 25% that was 1 to 3 days, which is really incredible. The application process, we put out a survey saying, was it easy to understand? And you can see that 100% of our people either strongly agree or agree, so that we had really good results. Now, I will tell you, you can see in the little print, we put out 87 surveys and 36 came back, but we were excited about the results nonetheless. The reason for choosing Elm ISD was one of my favorite pieces as well, and you can see here that the atmosphere and culture was the highest reason that people gave in completing the surveys for why they wanted to work in Little Elm. The location and family history were also very strong. Another one of my personal favorites was the word of mouth, which I think reflects back on the atmosphere and culture that we've all built here. We do have something new coming. I kind of jokingly referred to it as the new old approach. Most of our openings right now in the non-exempt realm are custodial and maintenance, which has been a challenge for us because of the demand. I mean, the economy's great, so workers are being pulled every which direction. So we're trying something new that's not so new, and we're putting out posters that you may have seen around town. We're doing a job fair on the 30th. We've gone out into the businesses and service stations, churches, VFWs, everywhere we can, and sent out lovely posters in both Spanish and English that market to a job fair that we will have here. We're working with child nutrition, custodial maintenance. We will be doing applications, interviews, and hopefully hiring on the spot on Saturday the 30th. You may recall that during the 15-16 school year, HR came to the board and asked for an increase in substitute pay, specifically on Mondays and Fridays, which were days that we were showing very low sub-fill rates within our classrooms. And I just had to point out the little comic because substitute teachers really do come and save the day for us sometimes. So the results are in, and as a result of your approval and generosity here, we had a 6% increase on Monday, Friday fill rates, taking us to 91% fill rate, which is excellent. And the surprise benefit was that it took our overall fill rates up. We started seeing increases Tuesday through Thursday as well, with substitutes picking up work. So overall, that was a really effective a decision for us. Another thing we've done differently in substitute training this summer, we completely revamped all of our substitute training. We took a whole new approach. We do have monthly training and orientation opportunities that we stay on, but for our brand new subs that have never been in our district or classrooms here before, we brought in a new model. In this model, we're teaching techniques of teaching as a part of the sub-training. So basically what we've done is we've taken the content of what they need to know to become a substitute teacher in our district, like how much you'll get paid, when will you get paid, some of the real nuts and bolts basics. But we brought in a guest teacher who actually revamped it into what classroom looks like instructionally, using the information for content, but modeling the techniques that we hope our teachers are using every day. And so we started using this program to actually train our teachers, our substitute teachers, very much like the professional development that our own full-time teachers get. Again, it was very practical, and we also invited alternative certification come in because, as you know, one of our goals has been to increase recruitment and retention. And there's so many people within our district, like paraprofessionals or even substitute teachers, and multiple people that are maybe have a degree or very close to having a degree, and we want to help them career-wise along the path. When we see someone that's maybe been in our district 8 or 9 years as a paraprofessional, they already have their degree, what a great opportunity to share with them some ways that they could maybe come into teaching. We already know they love our district. So these are all things we've done, and we've done 3 different months now of substitute orientation, and so now, again, the results are in. So what do the substitutes think of our new training? One of the questions was, I feel prepared to work in Elm ISD, and you can see that we had 93% either agree or strongly agree, and 70% was strongly, which is drastically improved for us. We asked them to rate the presenter. I will tell you that Ms. Walker was very nervous about this one, but you can see that 92% rated outstanding with the content and what was being brought forward as far as our presenters. The overall training received 100% in the strongly or the outstanding or above average for what we produced. The comments we took were things like, wow, I have never subbed in a district where they obviously care this much about their substitute teachers. So it was highly effective, and we were really excited. One of the other things that we're doing this year from HR is we've brought in a district mentoring program. It launched in August. This supports the Little Elm ISD commitment to engage in recruitment and retention practices, which will ensure each employee is well matched to expectations of their role in district's core values. So the mentor program guide is Mr. Gerald Muhammad, and he has already started with a mentor meeting and then a mentee meeting, and then it's one-to-one, so it's one mentor teacher paired to one new teacher. New being they've never taught before, or maybe up to 2 years they've never taught. So this program is just automatic. We selected them coming in as they went through the onboarding process, and they were paired up. Thus far, it's going very well. They're very excited. Just as a side note, if a principal or a teacher says, geez, I wish I had a little extra help, they can come in with us as well. And after the third year, it's our hope that the mentee becomes a mentor teacher, and then the process repeats. So teachers hosting teachers is another probably buzz phrase you might have heard me say. This is again to support recruitment and retention. The overview, it's designed to provide out-of-area student teachers with the opportunity to student teach in the LEISD and giving them a place to live. And why that's important is so many of our universities that maybe we would like to reach out to, some of the programs have great student teachers, but they have to pay fees to be, room and board at the university. So they're paying those fees. It's pretty hard to go out beyond just your immediate city limits or where your university is located. So we have reached out and started talking to universities that will allow us to have their teachers come maybe from like Louisiana or from New Mexico or maybe from Lubbock. It doesn't have to be out of the state. But in this way, they can come and student teach here. We're pairing them with what will be a guest teacher, a host teacher. So they'll have somewhere to live, and they will, in return, have an opportunity to fall in love with Little Elm and to pull a wider net of potential teachers for the upcoming years. Our current progress is listed there. There are fall meetings going on right now in recruiting. The board-approved stipends that you all have approved for us for the host teachers, and the applications we're just in the process of releasing that. Our expectation is that the first round of participants, which we anticipate will be 5, will come to teach second semester. And again, I've talked about this a little bit, professional growth. We are wrapping this up, and we do have several different pieces of ongoing training that we continue to work toward being the best HR department we can for our students to get the best teachers in place. So I just want to say a heartfelt thank you. When I've come to you for different resources, you're always there for Little Elm. You're always there to support us and our students, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
And thank you, Ms. Epps. And I do want to say, just from personal experience, a year and a half ago when I joined the district, the onboarding process then I was so impressed with. It was just so efficient, all 100% online. It was incredible. But I also want to thank you just for the surveys that you're doing with our new teachers, and the fact that they're coming here because of our culture says so much of just not just this current administration, but Dr. Strike and what we've done in the past to change the culture of this district. So thank you for pointing that out as well.
Perfect. Next up, highlights of partnership between LEISD and TWU.
Yeah, President Myers, at this time, I'm going to call our Deputy Superintendent up, Ross Roberts, to talk about highlights of the partnership that we have with TWU. And while he's walking up, let me tell you, one of the things that we're really, really proud of in our district is the development of the college-going culture, and not just the college-going culture, but our focus on our career CTE courses, and having our students ready when they leave Little Elm High School to either be successful in college or successful in the workforce. And even as of this afternoon, we were meeting talking about defining what it means to be college and career ready, and really coming up with some criteria for that, and that's something we'll continue to work on. So at this time, Ross Roberts.
President Myers, Board of Trustees, Mr. Gallagher, thank you. Good evening. And it is my honor to stand up and to talk briefly about our college-going culture. And I'm going to basically step out of the way and bring up Mrs. Keisha Brown. And before she actually comes to the podium to speak, I would like to say a few words, and you can come stand by me. I didn't know if you were going to go sit down. About a week and a half ago, Mr. Gallagher and myself were invited to a kickoff luncheon with Texas Women's University, and Ms. Brown invited us, and of course, we made sure that our calendars were clear so that we could attend that event because we know the strength of our partnership that we have created with TWU. And the bottom line in that collaboration that we have with that wonderful university is that it benefits our children of Little Elm ISD. And so we're extremely proud of the work that Mrs. Brown has done. And then the things like Mr. Gallagher just spoke of, us identifying college ready, identifying career ready, identifying life ready. So we're really looking forward to the work that she will continue to lead. And the work that she has accomplished now in building that college-going culture is incredible. And so there's not a better way to represent and to share that with the community and to the Board of Trustees is for me to back out and have her speak and share. Before I do that, we have distinguished guests with us tonight from Texas Women's University. And so Ms. Brown's going to introduce them, but I just want to personally say thank you to each one of you. And, our partnership has been in the works now for some time, and every time I see you, it is a very positive, very warm, heartfelt experience, and we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts, the openness you have and what you're doing for our kids here at Little Elm ISD and those opportunities. So we really appreciate you guys. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Brown. Sorry about that.
No problem. I will be brief. As the coordinator of college readiness for Little Elm ISD, I want to thank the Board of Trustees, Superintendent, and Administration for the opportunity to share the highlights of a wonderful partnership that started a few years ago, but has really blossomed over the last 2 years. From being one of the first 5 districts to offer the weekly Go Centers, to dual credit opportunities for our students, and being the 2nd district to sign on to the Pioneer Promise Agreement, our partnership with Texas Women's University has expanded the opportunities for our students to be both college and career ready. At this time, I would like to introduce the Vice President of Enrollment Management for Texas Women's University, Dr. Randall Langston. Serving as Vice President for Enrollment Management, Dr. Randall Langston provides vision, inspiration, and leadership to staff in the offices of admissions, registrar, financial aid, and admissions processing. Randall is responsible for developing strategic enrollment management plans, high-level statistical and mathematical data analysis, predictive modeling, and building systems and structures to assist students from matriculation to graduation. With over 20 years of experience in higher education, Randall recently relocated back to Texas from New York and is excited to work with the Little Elm ISD administrators and students. Dr. Langston.
Oh, thank you very much. I don't know how I'm going to follow that. Thank you, Superintendent Gallagher, Deputy Superintendent Roberts, and the entire school board for having us here to share with you a really exciting partnership that is emerging between our school, your school district, and our university. I'm going to talk all about that, but I do want to talk about 1 second here. If you probably see our new logo. We're pretty excited about our new logo here and our tagline. Just to let you all know what we're doing here. If you just close your eyes for a moment, you can probably see for our logo here, this actually, the logo is takes its primary design cues from the library fountain that we have on our campus. And it also forms the letters TW for Texas Women's University. We've also shifted away from TWU to Texas Women's University to focus in on what our primary mission is and who we serve on our campus. The tag Boldly Go builds upon the strong past of Texas Women's, the nation's largest university primarily for women. It also is an expression of the university's aim to educate, inspire, and empower students for generations to come. And I think it's a pretty noble thing that we're doing on our campus. But what we're here for today is really about the Pioneer Promise. And I'm excited to be here. I know my colleagues are excited to be here as well. And I first want to say that we genuinely appreciate the confidence that you have in our institution and working with your young men and women to consider our university. The Pioneer Promise, and I'm going to go to the next slide here, maybe. I guess I could use this. All right. Pioneer Promise. The Pioneer Promise partnership began in November of 2016. In the short time, TW applications and acceptance rates have increased from Little Elm students. As you can see there, and we're very excited to see this, the applications have increased from 24 in fall of 16 to 43 for this fall of 17. Acceptances also have increased from 17 in fall of 2016 to 29 this fall of 2017. We are genuinely looking forward and excited and delighted to work with all LEISD students who apply and ultimately enroll at TWU. So on behalf of myself and my office, the offices that serve with me, I want to thank you all very much for that. So at this time, I want to introduce a colleague of mine and someone who you probably know very well to come up and talk a little bit about Pioneer Promise, and that individual is Dr. Barbara Lerner.
If there's one thing academics can do, we can clear a room. I don't know. I don't know what it was about knowing that we were coming up. Thank you all, Superintendent and Ross. You know, I almost feel funny using your titles. I feel like I know so many of you already that I'm beginning to feel at home here, which is a little scary. Probably more for you than for me. But what I wanted to talk about is some of the characteristics of this partnership. Oh, that's right, we've got it. All right. So there are aspects of the partnership that are written, that are formalized, and that are actually in the signed agreement. And first and foremost is the assured admissions to TWU for Little Elm students in the top 25% of their class. Now you'd say, well, that's not so extraordinary. But what we will do is make that assurance in the spring of their junior year. So we may have to shift this whole competition that you're having here because there are going to be students who can walk with that assured admission, assuming they remain in the top 25% of their class into the junior year. What we really want to do as part of this agreement is for those students who never thought of college possible, that we wanted them to know early that yes, college is possible. And often I think that changes minds, it changes what they do from that point on. So that was the first aspect of the Pioneer Promise. We also will offer on campus a student stay where we can offer admissions on the spot. Again, we will send a team out to the high school, and those students that day can walk away with, I've been admitted to TWU. And again, we think that's important for students. In order to provide a little bit of incentive, we do allow Ms. Pentecost to have $1,000 in her pocket, and that is a renewable scholarship that she can determine how she would like to allocate to a student who has been admitted to TWU. And I think that gives students Number one, it probably makes her a lot of friends on campus, I would guess, at least for a short period of time. But again, it's something that we want to recognize the importance of the partnership. Part of this also, we do or would be willing to provide TSIA assessment on campus, and I think we understand you're already doing your assessment. But we do want to make sure that students, when they are thinking about readiness, that they know that that testing is available. And so for those students who cannot participate on campus, they certainly can come to TW and test as well. All of that part is the formalized, what I refer to as the access piece of the Pioneer Promise. But what we wanted to do when we looked at the Pioneer Promise possibilities a couple of years ago was move from access to success. As you know, getting a student in the door is necessary but not sufficient. I mean, you all know you have students in your classrooms all day. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be successful. So we wanted to look not only at how we can make TW accessible to students, but how we can best partner with our partner districts to help you determine what those elements of success would be once those students begin their college career. So what we will be doing beginning this fall, and this we now have 4 Pioneer Promise partners. That's not easy. And what to me, the most exciting aspect of the promise is to bring our partner districts together. And so you say, well, what's the point of that? Well, what we hope to achieve is, number one, when we bring the superintendents, the principals, and whichever other personnel you would like to bring to that meeting, it gives us an opportunity to share the individual data that we will collect about Little Elm students. So what we intend to do is offer to the superintendent, when he comes, a packet for his eyes only of data that pertain to Little Elm students. Now, what we can begin to collect will be information that the districts will inform us as we move forward that is important to you. So, for example, we might look at not only the number of students who come to Texas Women's, but how they are succeeding once they come. How many students, when they walk in the door, are college ready? How many are not? How many require developmental education? If so, in which areas? Once they engage in developmental education, are they moving forward in their program? Which majors are they choosing? All of this that we hope to make available will be geared to the individual needs of the partners that come to us. In addition, we feel strongly that this collaborative approach is going to help inform all of us. So we need to be able to inform you, and we need to take your information to inform us as to what we can do better to make sure that once your students come to TWU, that they graduate and move on and are successful. So those are the aspects of the promise that I think we are really most excited about, the success piece. And this is one piece I was not going to add, but it's your fault because you put the HR director up in front of me. So I do have to tell you, my discipline is teacher preparation. And so I heard so many pieces of your conversation that I'm thinking, oh, we can help there. We can help there. And one thing, I will throw in only one mini advertisement. Our teacher certification at this point is what we refer to as the Triple Crown. And I don't know if you've heard of this, but our default education prep program at Texas Women's University will now prepare students for certification in general ed, ESL, and special education. So when they walk in the door, they will be certified in all 3 areas. That's the end of my ad, but I couldn't resist saying that. We will have time for questions. I want to introduce a colleague of mine, Becky Rodriguez, who will talk to you a little bit about the Go Center program.
So thank you, Dr. Lerner. So one of the things that I do, and I really want to thank all the administration and Dr. Gallagher and Ross for being there at our training a couple weeks ago. It really does mean a lot because one of the things that really does make Little Elm High School one of the successful Go Centers in the state, really, and I like to brag because I always get asked what makes our Go Centers really successful and a model across the state is the support we have and the support that comes from top down, and that starts with you. And that starts with you being at our trainings from day one and then all the way down to Keisha. And I think that's very important. With that said, and the Go Centers is we have the partnership with our high school, and that is the center, the Go Center is the center we have at the high school where we send our college students weekly to the school, and they work with the high school students, the parents, the teachers, and the staff. And it is getting the students ready to complete their applications, their scholarships, and their financial aid. And our students are trained to come and work with the students and be that peer-to-peer mentor. They're the ones that say, I've done it, I've been there, and you can too. And they come in with the attitude of getting the students in the culture within the school, that college readiness culture. So we're very excited. It was one of the first schools that was started. It was one of the first original schools, and we've had that partnership since 2005. So we're very excited. We were actually in the old building, the first building, and we moved in when the school was built. So we're very excited. We like to brag. And when the other schools were here, they enjoyed seeing the building and being here. So it's an honor to be here and an honor to share the information with you. But these students do peer-to-peer mentoring. They work not only with the students, but also with the parents. And we do the workshops. We do it with the students, and we are Texas Women's, but we do help students get to whatever destination they want to be, whether it's a 2-year, 4-year technical school, but we will help them. And then we do follow them through the process of the college application process. If they are at Texas Women's, we do provide them the services to the end. So when they do get to campus, we will follow them through orientation, through Pioneer Camp, through the first week of school, and then we will follow them. And then I will work with my colleagues to ensure that they are successful with them. So that is something that we are very proud of and that we do and collect some of that data, and then we will share them across with our colleagues. So that is one of the things that we are very excited about, and with that process that we will do. So you will see us. One of the things that you will see is and you were the very first ones to see it, is our 34-foot trailer that we have. It is equipped with 20 laptops, a printer, and internet access. So we will actually come to the community. You were the first ones that we tried it out, but we were at one of your football games. And that's a way that we can actually come out to the community and be out and being able to provide those services. So there is no excuse to build that college culture within the community. So it's very exciting to be able to be with you tonight. So I thank you for those opportunities. And I think you're doing the right thing in having us being able to give these services to the students, especially the parents, because it starts at home. It starts with the parents and the community. So thank you. And if there's any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. And I think this last slide is kind of sharing the team. So as you can see, there's a large team. There's a lot of us in various areas within the institution. I think Irma is kind of back there, but she's the one that kind of helps us because she's kind of with admissions, and it kind of starts there. So thank you.
I have a quick question, if I may.
You bet.
You're absolutely right where it starts with parents. And so my question is related to parent support, those that don't speak the English language. In your trailer, do you provide that kind of support for those individuals?
Yes, we have all the materials that we provide. We have them both in English and Spanish, and all our presentations are in bilingual as well. They're both in both languages.
Excellent. Thank you.
And then our students are also bilingual as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from the board? I thought it was fabulous. I love that.
That's good.
It's great.
Yes, thank you, Board of Trustees, and again, thank you, TW, for being here. And, back to the luncheon a week and a half ago, you can see why Mr. Gallagher and myself were very excited in saying we need to bring people together so that we can bring the Pioneer Promise and the great collaboration that we have to the forefront. And you know, we hang our hats here in Little Elm ISD on the 6 core values. And if you look at unleashing every individual's highest potential, definitely is being brought to the forefront when we talk about these incredible things. So thank you, Texas Women's University, and thank you, Mrs. Brown, for all your leadership as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I also want to thank Dr. Lerner for you coming out tonight with your team. Thank you all very much. And again, Keisha Brown for leading the drive to really focus our students on developing that college-going culture and belief in themselves. So thank you. At this time, I would like to ask Rod Reeves to come up.
Thank you. Dr. Lerner, just FYI, my mother was a graduate of Texas Women's. She got her master's in education, so she had to deal with 3 young, crazy boys. So you taught her well on that. So,
we don't go anywhere without hearing my mother, my aunt, my sister, my nurse, my physical therapist, someone significant in your life at TWO.
So,
Very proud of that.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you, Board of Trustees and President Myers and Superintendent Gallagher. Just want to go over the second quarter growth report for you. We're looking at the job growth in DFW areas up 2.5%. We are seeing a tick up in the unemployment rate, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It shows that the economy is doing a little bit better. Little Elm is still below the state and national level. We are looking at the annual home starts for us is about 1,700 more than the second quarter of 2016. So we're moving very fast. If you look at us compared to other DFW school districts, Little Elm ISD ranks 7th. And I will point out that future developed area, you look at over 4,000 future lots. And so we have a lot of room to still grow. And so the next slides will show you, we'll kind of get into that a little bit deeper. This one was amazing. We're starting to go off the charts when we talk about starts and closings. This is the most starts, most closings in 14 years in Little Elm ISD. And so it's just been an explosion. This slide here just talks about the distribution of housing overall, and you see the green, it kind of represents those active subdivisions, and the yellow is the future subdivisions. This slide and the next 4 slides that talks about our closings, our vacant developed lots. Remember, those vacant developed lots are those lots that you can build on house, tomorrow. And our future lots say the same picture, say the same thing. It says the most of our growth we see in the Oak Point zones, that Prestwick and Hackberry zones. Actually, Hackberry is one of our fastest growing zones. Some of that is at Frisco Lakes, which is active adult living. We do see a lot also in the northern area, the northeastern area of Valencia and Paloma Creek South. Remember, Paloma Creek South is the area right up here where you have to come all the way up 423 or 720 to get to 380. And if you've been by that new high school at Denton ISD, there's a lot of traffic, and so we're dealing with traffic there. Like I said, this just shows closings throughout the district. The highest area is in that Hackberry area, and second is Oak Point and Prestwick, and Lakeview comes behind in third. Vacant developed lots, Oak Point, you see, has the highest level, along with Prestwick. And then future lots, we see Oak Point. So Oak Point is really hitting all 3 of them pretty hard in the sense of room to grow. It's growing now, and also it's ready to build houses. This just breaks down the new home activity by elementary school zone. It just reiterates what we've been saying about, Brent Chavez, sort of those zones that are built out. We do have a little bit of multifamily that I'll show you here in just a second, and that lakefront area that right by the Hydrus Park, across the street from the Hydrus Park, we do see a little bit of multifamily going in there. But Hackberry, Lakeview, Oak Point, and Prestwick, remember we placed portables at Oak Point, and we have portables at Prestwick already. And so you're seeing that our capacity, we're at capacity at most of our elementary school campuses. We're at capacity at Powell 6th grade center. We're almost at capacity at Lakeside Middle School, and so something's going to have to give in the sense of space for those students. And so that means new facilities, or that means portables, but the growth is coming regardless. And so I'm sure the board's aware with our long-range planning that we're trying to come up with options for the board and for the public on how to address that growth. This is the Tribute Active Development. It talks about the Waterford Point and the Westbury developments that are coming in line. These are behind Prestwick. You can see them actually building them today. They're going up very, very fast. This is Rivendell by the lake and Rivendell Point. Rivendell Point is sort of west of Hackberry Elementary School. Hackberry's right here. We just got through meeting with the city of Hackberry, Denton County, and the town of Little Elm on this area. It's growing so fast that it's kind of ahead of the development of sidewalks and ways to get students to school. And so we're working with them on a sidewalk plan to make sure we have safe routes to schools for those students. But we do have bus service for those even within the 2-mile radius, because we consider that a hazardous route, so there's no sidewalks. And if you've ever been down there, it's like Oak Point. It's like one way in, one way out. I think Mr. Gallagher and Mr. Roberts lives in the Oak Point area, so they know that traffic very well, I think. Okay, coming up. Well, get ready. Get ready. So this is at Paloma Creek South, which, remember, you have to go up to 380 and come down. And so this, again, is with that Oak Point Elementary zone. So it just continues that capacity concern that we see at Oak Point. This is Shahan Lakeview Addition. This is just the west of Wild Ridge development. And so we see another 379 total future lots there. This is Wild Ridge, which is just to the west of that, and we're seeing the phase 2 coming in line. Remember, this development is sort of split between Denton ISD and Little Elm ISD, and so the majority of the first phases are within Little Elm ISD. This just shows multifamily update. We're fortunate at Little Elm ISD not to have too much multifamily, which helps us, but there are some that are coming online, and they're mainly on El Dorado near the Hydras Park and that lakefront property. We don't think there'll be too many students from these areas, but we are looking at the yield point to make sure, because remember, they feed into Brent and Chavez zones. And so we want to make sure that there's enough room for those students. These next 3 slides, we added another component, and it's the actual enrollment data from last Monday. And so we kind of wanted to show that in comparison to what the demographers are showing. Remember, the numbers in orange represent the demographers number in October, the snapshot in October of 2016. And so throughout the year, it's going to fluctuate, but we wanted to show that actual number of last week so you can kind of see where we're at. This just breaks down by elementary campuses, and it shows that we're about 7 students more than what the demographers projected on an overall, but we can see there's some fluctuation between campuses. That could be because there was dual language. Some students are going to a different campus. It could be that they're going to Prestwick, part of the lottery system that we had. And so we are working continuously with the demographers to get even more precise. This just shows our secondary levels. It shows that Lakeside Middle School, we're pretty good till 2021, but I will say that if you look at the PAL numbers, I believe they're at 495 today, and their capacity is at 500. So at PAL, the capacity, they're already at capacity at PAL. So next year, something's going to have to happen at that campus. High school, we provided additions, 11 classroom addition with some other things, so we're pretty good there at the high school. So in summary, we're growing, still growing very fast. We have a lot of room to still grow. We have capacity concerns at almost every one of our elementary schools except for Brent and Chavez. Those are built out. Middle school, specifically the 6th grade center, we have capacity concerns there. And at the high school, we're pretty good on growth. So it was pretty quick, but I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions from the board?
Great. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. All right, at this time, the board will recess into closed meeting, and PL1 is permitted by the Texas Opens Meeting Act, subchapter 551.072 and 074. Time is 7:28.
Was it like that? Sure. All good, sure.
We will reopen at this time at 9:05. First up is discuss and approve financial reports. Mr. Anderson.
Good evening, President Myers and Board of Trustees and Superintendent Gallagher. I was going to go over our financial strategies. I mean, this is the first board meeting for the new fiscal year. Just briefly to review them quickly with you. The district has a financial system which operates on financially sound goals and strategies. And the goals and strategies help guide day-to-day financial decision-making. Financial systems have been established to help protect the district from financial hardship. And the main financial goal that's written in our board policy is to have a sufficient fund balance in the general fund to be able to maintain fiscal independence in case of a financial crisis. And I think from a financial perspective, the most critical function are in supporting our students and teachers and family is to make certain that Elm ISD does remain financially sound. And these are some of the financial strategies that we've developed to help the district to remain financially sound. The first one is to maintain a strong and forward planning fund balance policy. And this is one that I do meet with the board, 3 board members, almost monthly, if not twice a month. And we do talk about our fund balance policy, and it covered, the first one is that it's the district maintains unassigned fund balances in the general operating fund in an amount equal to or greater than 24% of the total annual operating expenditures. And then the district maintains fund balances in critical shortfalls due to the uncertainty of state funding, fluctuating enrollment, and unpredictable tax assessed values. And then also the district's discretionary fund balance will be maintained at a level which may fund one-time expenditures, and the district will safeguard against operating out of a fund balance for ongoing operational costs. And we've been able to do that over the last 3 years. We have had deficit budgets during the budget season, but they've always been one-time expenditures. And the second one is to establish financial systems and processes built on timing, transparency, and accountability. And through the open budget meetings and open board meetings and posting financial information to LASD's website, I believe that we do a really good job on our financial transparency, and the accountability is additionally reinforced through the periodic financial reviews with members of the Board of Trustees. And then identify and monitor variables which generate the district revenue. And as y'all are, I think, well versed in that, our revenue drivers are our taxable assessed values and student enrollment. And the fourth is identify, monitor, and control major appropriations. And as you're also aware that almost 80% of our budget and our appropriations is made up of payroll. And so we've monitor our payroll to major revenue ratio. And then develop and monitor a forecasting model built on fiscally conservative budgetary methodology. And I think we do a good job on this, and we're constantly forecasting out at least 4 years, again, with the finance committee. And we monitor also the the payroll again, continually watching the payroll to major revenue budget. But so those are our financial strategies, and we can go into more depth some other time, but I want to do a quick overview at this meeting. I mean, we're starting a new fiscal year. And all these financials are presented for the period ending July 2017. The budget amendments include all amendments through August 2017. And right now, remember, we're kind of in between fiscal years, and we'll finish out our August when our audit's completed sometime in November. And there's really no major budget amendments to our financials in this month. And this is our fund balance analysis. Our audited fund balance in 2015-16 was $27 million. And the change that we had to our 2016-17, again, this will be budget until we have our audited numbers sometime in November. We had a change of about $2.3 million deficit, but our discretionary fund balance is around $2.1 million. And this is budgeted. Our 2017-18 budget is fund balance is $24,673,065. And you can see that the proposed budget amendments coming to the board net our balance, so there will be no additions or subtractions from fund balance. And this is the financial. You see the estimated revenue in our initial budget that you all approved it last in August. And at $66.6 million, our proposed amendments, this is about $31,000 in revenue. And so we're at 66.5 in estimated revenue. And we're still at 77% of our total appropriations budgeted at the campus function. And again, we have a balanced initial budget, and our amended budget is balanced to our estimated revenue, so there's no change in our budgeted fund balance. And this is just a summary of our realized revenue expenditures through July. As of July 2017, you can see that our total revenue we realized about 91.9%. Our expenditures about 90%. And that's our other uses, so transfer out to the high school project. And right now, we're deficit about $2.7 million. Our cash flow to July 2017, beginning cash, $50 million. We've just had a net change of about 128, so about $50.2 million. And these are our capital projects that you have approved. The projected estimate for the high school expansion was 21.5. We have about 4.8 million to pay out on that project. And 3.5 million on the transportation facility, which is not, that will be needing to adjust that projected estimate. Do that sometime in November. And that number is looking closer to 8.5 million, and we'll transfer that out from the general fund. And we'll go over that in detail. And these are the financials in your board packet. And the administration recommends approval of the July 2017 financial report as presented.
I need a motion to approve the July 17 financial reports.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions from the board? Questions? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next step, discuss and approve Denton County 17 bond election interlocal agreement.
Yeah, this is an interlocal agreement that allows Elm ISD to enter into an interlocal with the Denton County for the 2017 bond election to hold in a general or special bond election on November 7th, 2017. You can see the cost of it is about $38,000. And the administration recommends approval of the Denton County 2017 bond election interlocal agreement as submitted.
I need a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
I just had a comment. One of the things I want to present on the bond is, even though we produce a lot of financial information out to the community about, one, the bond, financing, et cetera, there still is confusion in the community about.
Mr. English, I'm sorry, we're on, what's on the table right now is just what's on the agenda, just approving the financial amount for.
Yeah, the bond.
The bond the election process.
Right.
Wait, so.
Okay, that's fine. No, I just, okay, I can do it afterwards.
Okay.
Just someone asked if you could produce some information for us.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you can put that at the end of. That'd be great. Any other questions? No. Okay. I think the only question I had is that a typical cost to run an election? Have you seen?
Yes, and then there's, we have some special elections, early voting places that increase the cost.
Okay.
Because they're doing it at the football stadium.
Right, so that added to it, okay.
We didn't where? What site?
They're doing other sites. I know football stadium's
Mike.
one.
I saw a couple
There
others.
was actually several. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm sorry, I don't have them here in 1 second.
I get it from you later. No.
Yeah, it's in board book, the locations I think that were added.
One at STEM, one at the athletic complex, one at the high school, and one at Chavez.
Yeah, that's it.
Just for public information, we also have the early voting times, locations on our district website and our bond website as well.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, discuss and approve Little Elm ISD contract summary report.
Yeah, you have in your packet the summary report, and on it, there's 2 contracts, one to Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Publishing Company, and this is for on-site professional development for technology leaders and administration. Sessions delivered over time and scheduled in collaboration between client and ICLE. And then the second one is also to Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Publishing Company, and this is for E3 conference that includes the following keynotes, which includes Bill Daggett as the keynote speaker. The administration recommends approval of the Little Elm ISD contract summary as reported.
I need a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, questions from the board? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, discuss and approve Little Elm ISD interlocal summary report.
Yeah, this is an interlocal with the town of Little Elm Police Department. And this is an MOU between Little Elm Police Department and Little Elm ISD in regards to the student practicum for public safety, corrections, and security programs. And the administration recommends approval of the Little Elm ISD interlocal summary report as submitted.
All right, I need a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Clarification.
Yes.
Yes,
Mr.
I had a
Forrester.
question too. Go ahead.
There is no change, is that what this means?
Tony, is there a charge on this, a fee?
No change. Okay.
And then this is for actually part of the education on the I guess, the police and in the state, sorry.
Yes, ma'am. This is for the law enforcement practicum students to be able to go and serve with the Little Elm Police Department.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, fantastic. Okay. I just want to make sure this wasn't part of our SRO and this is completely separate. Okay, thank you.
All right, great.
Any other questions? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Last item, discuss and approve Little Elm ISD expenditures over 50,000 summary report.
Yeah, on this report, you see CBS Roofing Services and of an amount of $236,000. And this is for a roof replacement project for the main athletic complex. And then Edgenuity for 2 unlimited site licenses for virtual classrooms and web administrator. And the third one is Northwest Evaluation Association, and this is for MAP Growth Spanish Math Supplement, and MAP Growth Math, Reading and Language, and Growth K through second, MAP Growth Science, and Children's Progress Academic Assessment. And the fourth one is to Pearson, Texas Envision Math, 2.0 Teacher Resources Box of textbooks for grades K through 5. And the administration recommends approval of the Little Elm ISD expenditures over $50,000 summary report as submitted.
I need a motion to approve as submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions for Mr. Anderson?
I have one very quick question.
Mr. Blackwood?
Rod, I guess this one would go to you. For the roof, is that the locker rooms or the press box, out of curiosity?
Actually, that's for all the roofs at Little Elm Athletic Complex.
There's only
so that's
two,
part of
so.
the insurance claim that we're using, so.
Okay.
And then on the Northwest Evaluation Association, are we purchasing more for the year, or is that just an annual increase on their, it's only like $2,000, but I'm just curious if we're having to get more licenses or if that's just,
Ashley,
did they
can
just
you
go up in their fees?
discuss that?
That's just our general, it is up for student
Okay.
fee, so it's our universal screener, so it's based on growth as well.
Okay, that's what I wanted to check on. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Next up, consent agenda. Is everybody good with consent agenda as is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I need a motion to approve consent.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. I guess I have an item tonight. So TASB Delegate Assembly, I think there's only one that was going. Is that right?
Tasby?
Yeah,
I'm going.
you're going?
Is anybody else going? Am I the only one going?
Yeah.
In October?
I think it was
It's
October,
it's the same day as the Classic.
the 21st, second, no.
It's October 6th.
That's right,
7th and
okay,
8th, yeah.
that's right.
No, I'm going
It's
as
same
well.
day as
You're
our
going as
marching
well?
contest.
I won't be there on the Saturday,
Yeah.
which I
Okay.
think is when the delegate thing is, because Saturday we've got Classic, so,
Guess it's a delegate.
yes. Or Thursday and Friday.
It's just a
Oh, it's just one thing? Okay, so yeah.
You want to be our delegate?
You're the delegate.
Yeah, because I won't be able to go on Saturday.
By default, it looks like I'm the delegate.
You're the
It
delegate.
looks like you are. So Mr. English will be the delegate. Thank you, Mr. English, for your support.
Daylan, I said last year I would be the alternate, I would do it this year, but it's the same day as our marching contest. I've got to
Yeah.
be there, so.
Yeah, and we're in the same boat, so.
Yeah, and Jason is also.
David, you're
Alex,
not
you've
going?
been there, you know what it's like.
Not Saturday. I was still looking into that Friday.
Okay.
I got band contest, and I'm leaving Sunday for a business trip.
It's only that Saturday. For the
I got
delegate.
band on Saturday, and I'm leaving on Sunday to go on a business trip.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Mr. English, for doing that for us.
Yes.
Taking a year off, aren't you?
The other item that I just wanted to bring forward, Mr. Gallagher, for a future agenda item, if possible, if we could just get an update on the high school project. Overall, what I would love to see is just how it went as we've been in there for 3 or 4 weeks. What's maybe not working great, what's working well.
That's great.
What people like or they don't like. If we can just get a little feeler for how everything turned out.
Absolutely. And one of the other things that we are going to plan is while it's not a brand-new building, we're going to do a dedication for the new construction area, and we're working on a date for that, make sure everyone here can make it. So we'll get that out to the board, and then we'll get that out to the community as well.
Perfect. All right, so that was all the items I had. So I'll open up for board comments. Mr. English, do you want to go first?
Yes, so just as I was saying a little bit earlier, one of the things we have is with the bond election, particularly with the finance, the way school finances work, even though we produce a lot of the financial information out to the community, one of the things that the community doesn't understand is between INS and M&O. The community doesn't understand that from a board standpoint of view. If you want to build anything from a governmental standpoint of view, you have to go out to get capital improvements. We're not by law allowed to say we're going to allot $5 million to do X from a general fund to build capital improvements. It's just not the way it works. And so it'd be nice if granted if we can put together something in the community, just maybe a couple of slides or 3 slides, say, hey, let me tell you how school finances work. Here's what teachers are paid. Here's how capital improvements are made. If you want a new school, if you want to build something, this is how you have to do it. The government has mandated that we do it that way. We don't have a choice. If we had a choice like a business, we can basically say, we made this much revenue, we can go out and purchase the stuff, we can do this, but we can't do that. That's just not an option for us. And unfortunately, it comes upon on taxpayers that we have to go to taxpayers and say, hey, what do you want to do? And I did the second thing was I want to commend the committee and the district for the long-range planning facility, which we didn't have in the past, on putting out as much information as they possibly could to the community of this is what the community wants to do, and being extremely transparent with the information that's out there and what the ideas are that we put in place. And I commend the board on following along with what the long-range planning facility has actually come to. Because I think this is an important aspect that the community has learned. And I want to avoid the same situation in Frisco where you had this situation where they went out and got money for schools, but M&O wasn't available. So they basically couldn't do anything. The nice part is we're not in that same situation at all. So that's a good part. So if we can do something in the community so they understand our help.
So I think, Mr. Gallagher, I believe there's some of that out there already, but if you want to kind of see what you can put together.
Yeah, and I actually have a couple slides already in the bond presentation that I'm doing. It's basic information about M&O and INS, but it does explain what you were just talking about.
Because people get confused. They don't understand why we have to go do something or why something is in place. So.
Thank you, Mr. English.
Sure.
Mr. Flores?
Well, just a reminder, we have a bond meeting on Wednesday.
Yes, at Prestwick at 6:30 on Wednesday, the 20th.
Thank you. Mr. Russell?
Yeah, for a future agenda item, I had requested, I believe, a couple of months ago, possibility of seeing if we could get funding for electric car charging units at some of our schools. I requested from staff to look into that, so if we can maybe get an update on, I know that Blaze and Associates does a lot of grant writing, see if there's grants out there for that from the state or local. So if we can maybe get an update from staff on if we've looked into any of that, I'd appreciate it.
The free new Tesla?
Yeah, right. In the year 2027, yeah, I'll have that new Tesla to put out there. That's it for me.
For cars, okay. Got it. Mr. Montemayor?
I was just going to highlight that there is a series of workshops coming up, Q&A sessions for the bond, and all the information available for that. It is on the district website. There's, in addition to what's already there, there's some other meetings that are in the works as well. So as soon as those get nailed down, that'll be updated. I would encourage anyone that has questions to come and speak to somebody. Having an exchange of questions face to face is always much easier than just trying to address stuff, in writing, even through emails, but then even worse yet in a social media environment where it's just like volleying stuff back and forth instead of actually having a conversation. So I would just encourage anyone that has any questions or curiosity to it to go and attend and actually speak to people one-on-one.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Ms. Harding?
I've brought this up several months ago. I'm just going to bring it up again. I don't know why I have my own personal agenda here. No, I'd like the thought of renaming the athletic complex.
I actually agree. That was
So
on
we
my
brought it
agenda.
up before Christmas last year, and I just don't want to forget it, because I went to another stadium again, and this one was actually just named last month for a couple that had done a lot for the district, and it just reminded me that, we've got a lot of people in our area that could be, and one of the things, they even named the floor after another person. So it's something, a lot of things that we could do around here to honor some people. But renaming the athletic complex is just something I'd like to throw back on the table. And then anyway, I want to say good job on the presentations, by the way. I've heard lots of really good comments and feedback from it. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Mr. Blackwood?
3 very quick things. One, in regards to all the bond meetings and everything, I know that Mr. Gallagher, as well as the administration, is also wanting to really, really push for the bond oversight committee if the bond does pass. So that's something I would highly encourage anyone who is interested in talking, or any one of us that talk to someone or people that are very interested in this bond, to lasso them in to be on that committee as soon as possible, especially some of the most vocal or outspoken ones, I would say, because the more that they want to complain about it, then put them on the committee to oversee it. Mr. Gallagher was actually luckily able to do that at the first bond meeting that he had. He had one, and we spoke to a couple individuals afterwards, and when they were leaving, he basically said, "Oh, I guess I'm on the oversight committee now." So we were able to rope someone in on that. So. Additionally, I would like to, again, redress something we've all mentioned several times, just doesn't look like we've ever actually done anything about it. Consider going back to the remote board meetings. I think, at least one in Oak Point and one in Prescott would be a very good idea. Get on the 2 opposite ends of towns. I realize between now and the end of the year, probably not going to happen. The other thing that that I'd like to see maybe consider doing, this would be something probably we'd have to look at starting the beginning of the year. It's been very popular in town with the city government, and especially with De Leon, with a lot of your mention about the finances. Have we ever looked at or have done the possibility of thinking and looking at like citizen academies, bringing people in and actually being able to have them sit down and look at how the school finance works, not just give a presentation like they do it with the fire academy, they do it with the police academy, and they even did it here in town. They actually did it in the business office also. So would there be that possibility where we could do something like that, try and go through the academic side, the administration side, fine arts, and just look at all the different inner workings, even child nutrition, see everything, environmental services. Let the public see what the school actually does. Make it a 5 or 6 week class or whatever, one night, a month, and they come in and they learn a different aspect of the school district. I think it would open a lot of eyes to a lot of different people about what all is involved with educating their children. So just an idea, if that's something that we could consider doing.
Thank you. Mr. Gallagher?
All right, great, thank you. And yes, I wrote down all those ideas, great ideas and suggestions, and we certainly can come back and report on some of those, so thank you all for those. I just want to say a quick thank you to Mrs. Gibson and Mrs. Pentecost for coming out tonight, bringing out students and recognizing the students. Just very proud of our not just STEM opportunities at Prestwick, but the fine arts and the work that they're doing at Prestwick. And then, of course, Mrs. Pentecost, which I don't know, it slipped. She's not here, but I'm going to tell her happy birthday. Today's her birthday, so Miss Pentecost, happy birthday. I'm sure she's home listening and watching right now. But this will be on YouTube later, so we can point to YouTube and let her know we wished her happy birthday. I also want to thank Keisha Brown for being able to be here tonight, and Dr. Lerner and the TWU team. It is very exciting, just the work that we're doing to create that college-going culture. And like I said earlier, the meeting we had just today about redefining readiness here, college readiness and career readiness in a little Elm ISD, and the work that we're doing with that. And as we continue to work on that throughout the year, we'll bring some reports to you on what criteria we're looking at here. Because if you ask people, what does it mean to be college ready, you will get a different answer You can get a different answer talking to Dr. Lerner, or a different answer talking to people in other school districts. So what we want to do is define what that means for our little Elm ISD students and really bring that awareness of college and career readiness even down in kindergarten, start at that level. So that's something we're going to be working on this year, and very proud of the focus there. But again, just wanted to thank them for coming out to the board meeting this evening. And bond meeting this Wednesday at Prestwick at 6:30. And if you've got questions about the bond, we do have a website, littleelmisdbond.net.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. All right, then at this time, I'll request a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any question? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. We will adjourn at 9:35.
The Lobos.